Hello. Today I'm going to talk about deterrence credibility. So, what is that? That means if I have credible deterrence and I do what I'm saying I'm going to do, say if you do X to me, I'm going to respond by Y. Then you do X and I respond by Y, then I have deterrence credibility. If you do X and I do nothing other than just, peek off and go blah, 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 make empty promises, empty threats, whatever, then I have no deterrence credibility. So the whole concept of nuclear deterrence is built on that credibility. If you cross my red lines, I will fire nuclear weapons at you. If you use a nuke on me, I will use three on you, and so on and so forth. And so the side A says, gee, we better not cross this person's red line, this nation's red line, because they will unleash Armageddon on us, or even unleash, extensive conventional attacks on us, whatever. So that is what deterrence credibility is. And nuclear deterrence and mutual assured destruction, MAD, was all based on that. And that's what kept us from having a nuclear war up until now. Now, the risk is if one side perceives the other side as having no credibility in that respect. I'll use case in point from in our near past. Nancy Pelosi flies over to Taiwan. The Chinese say, don't do that. There'll be major consequences for that. She goes over anyways, and they say, well, there'll be consequences for that. This is not good, and we're going to do something. Well, it's been well over a year now since she's done that, and the Chinese have done nothing. I mean, they've scaled back their position in U.S. bonds and treasuries, but they've been doing that before she actually went over. So at this point, China has no deterrence credibility in the eyes of the West because, we did something they told us not to do, and they did nothing in return. Therefore, now it may be because the Chinese are patient and just trying to warn, well, don't do this again. However, if you always have to assume that your opponents understand that this is a warning, and next time you'll really do it. Otherwise, they'll assume you're weak. Same thing, Russia. Russia's been making a lot of threats, and warnings about nuclear escalation and so on and so forth. And if you allow the Ukrainians to use your weapons on our cities and targets inside of Russia, then we can target you in your own country where they build these weapons, where they ship these weapons out, and so forth. They made that threat to the UK and so forth. Well, for the past while, these weapons have been used in Crimea and in the Donetsk, Donbass, and they've done nothing. And will they? Because if they don't, then they lose deterrence credibility, and that's a very dangerous place to go. It may be just they're just being patient, biding their time, but you can't assume that your opponent is that self-aware, and vice versa. I mean, if we were doing the same thing, they'd go like, "Yeah, yeah, right." Yeah, they're always making posturing. I mean, classic example of that where America lost its credibility is in respect to, during the election campaigns, the last ones. President Biden said that it would make Saudi Arabia a pariah. And a little later, he comes going over to Saudi Arabia to try and get them to produce more oil to reduce the prices. And of course, they go ha ha ha, so forth. So you actually have to have that. That if you say X, then you will do Y. If the enemy does what you are warning them against, if you don't, zero credibility. So this is dangerous because at some point, the other side, who has you perceived are just weak, and you just keep escalating, will snap. All of a sudden they will respond, and they'll probably, in most likelihood, over respond. And you go, oh, wow, now what? And that's the one thing you can't um, walk back is any event that triggers a nuclear war. So if you keep pushing somebody, eventually they'll snap. You see that in people, you see that in nations, and then you have to be ready for that. So the danger we're right now is that the West may perceive China and Russia as having no deterrence credibility, and will keep pushing them, and at some point they'll snap. And that is the danger we have to be aware of. That increases the overall risk. It would have been much better if, if say China blockaded Taiwan for a few months, or Russia has, basically shot down early on, shot down some of the drones flying over the American Reapers and whatnot, flying over the Black Sea. Then NATO would sort of take, oh, gee, the Russians are pretty serious about this. I mean, and it's shocking the fact that Ukraine, as using Western weapons, has struck Russian ballistic missile early warning sites in southern Russia, and Russia has done nothing about it. This is again, this is actually creates greater risk. You need to be able to quickly respond to somebody. It doesn't matter. I'm not pro-Russian here. I'm not pro-West. I'm just pointing out the fact that basically, if you say that Party A does something, that you will respond in such a way, you better if Party A does it. Otherwise, you have no credibility and you'll just keep escalating because they figure you're weak. So please comment. So tell me what you think. Am I reading this right or not? And do subscribe and like. Bye for now.